What's up, y'all? Brett here with Half Baked Builds. I just had an idea, decided to click record. We're going to jump through today what the front end design plugin from Anthropic does. Basically, I haven't used it, I haven't installed it yet. So we're going to go through how to install a plugin, how to use the plugin, and we're going to do a before and after comparison on designing a basic landing page with and without the plugin. So let's jump over real quick. So right here, we've got a basic description of the plugin: create distinctive production grade front-end interfaces with high design quality. Okay, so the idea here is that it should break out of the common design paradigms you see with the AI slop, right? So when you see the purple to blue gradient, like the similar Roboto font. So basically, at this point, I think most people can identify an AI generated website. And the goal here is to test this plugin and see how different it makes it, how unique it makes it. I'm not going to tweak anything. I'm not going to give any design direction, which may be a little bit unfair, but I just wanted to keep it as baseline as possible. So we're going to run the same prompt through 2 times. We're going to run it once, see the output, and then we're going to install the plugin, run it again, and compare the output. So let's get started. This was just me Googling it. I use Gemini a lot of times to generate prompts. This is just kind of a little, it's not even a tip really, it's just sort of like a behind the scenes of what I do. I just really like Gemini's ability to break down my prompts and give me good output. I use Gemini for anything research based. I think it could just be biased, but having Google built in the back end just gives me confidence that it's got good information. And then I use Claude for everything else. So Opus and Sonnet 4.6 for pretty much everything else. But I do use Gemini a lot of times to get started. So I asked Gemini for a prompt that I can use to build this website. So we're going to go jump over here into Warp. Let's see, we're already in my folder. So I'm going to make a directory and we're going to call it front end design test. All right, so we're going to open up Claude and we're just going to give it this command and we're going to see what it says. So it's building a landing page, a responsive landing page for a mobile app called Dope Mode. Dope Mode is an app I built that is supposed to kind of dopamine prime you to get you in the mood to do something. And then it gives you a timer to act on that. So do something fun, get your brain operating, and then capitalize on that momentum and go get something productive done. This description is not aware of that. So I have no idea what it's going to make. Yeah, we'll see. I'll check back with you in just a minute when it's done. So checking back in, I noticed this is still running, but I actually already have a front-end design skill installed from Compound Engineering from Every. I'm still going to run this and see if there's a difference, but I'm not operating from a total baseline. I may, depending on curiosity level, I may go remove the Compound Engineering plugin and see how that impacts the output. But since this is already running, I'm going to let it finish and we'll go from here. All right, so I already took a quick look at it and it's actually pretty good. So we're going to have to compare the 2 plugins and just see if it's good, because this doesn't look like the typical AI slop. So kudos to the Compound Engineering plugin from Every. They have a front-end design skill that's part of that. And I installed this a while ago. I really like the plugin from them. So let's see what we've got here. It says it's dark, immersive, hyper-focused tunnel. That's interesting. Black base with electric chartreuse. That's wild. All right. Got bold typography, social proof pricing. All right, let's scroll through the website and see what we got. See, like, this is pretty cool looking. This is a decent looking landing page. I like the use of like a unique font. That's pretty cool. This is pretty standard breakdown. You've got your hero section. I've noticed that all AI puts this little blurb. Sometimes it's over here on the left in the hero section, but they always add this little banner at the top. So that's interesting. Yep, here's your breakdown of the functionality, some fake social proof, some numbers. I mean, this is a pretty standard website. Here's pricing. Cool. So honestly, not bad. Like, if I was putting together a quick landing page, this is pretty decent. And it ran for 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So now we're going to go install the Anthropic plugin. And I have that. Let's see. See if they have the install command here. No, interesting. I had it saved in a notepad. I just wasn't sure what else was in that note, so I popped it over to the other monitor real quick so that I didn't accidentally expose any keys or anything like that. So we're going to pop open Claude Code. I'm going to run this plugin install. So all this does is install a marketplace for Anthropic's Claude Code skills. So reload plugins. And again, I'm doing this for the first time, so if you see me following instructions, that's all I'm doing, just following instructions. It says it had an error during load, run doctor for command. I'm just going to close out Claude Code and jump back in and see if that fixes it. So now I'm going to grab the command to install the front end Claude Code plugin. Install for you, install for all collaborators, install for you. So basically, does this want to install for my user on my computer? Any collaborators that would be in this repo, which means that it would install it at the project level. So if I were to check this into GitHub, the plugin would go with it. And then I can also install it for me only, which means it goes in this repo, but doesn't get tracked by my Git file. It gets put in the git ignore file and doesn't get tracked on GitHub. So I'm going to do it for my user scope. So basically me. So for any project that I run, this will be available. It says reload plugins to activate. I'm going to try that again and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then we'll just restart Claude Code again. That only takes a second. Yeah, it keeps saying run doctor. You know what? I'm going to run it just so you guys can see, like, if you ran into this, what happens. Compound engineering, every marketplace. Okay, so it's having an issue for the compound engineering plugin. I'm not sure why, but that's fine. I don't need that right now. We can ignore that. So because I have that, I'm going to specify to use the Anthropic plugin when I rerun this test. Typically, once you've installed a plugin with a skill, you don't have to specify that. It should, based on the language in the skill, know when it should be instantiated, but I'm going to just specify for our test. So I'm going to give it the same command that we gave it earlier, excuse me, for that prompt. And I'm going to say, let's see, use the front-end design skill from Claude Code, from the Anthropic Claude Code Marketplace to do the design for this page. I wasn't sure if I could start typing it in or not. So we're going to send that, and I'll be back in a minute and we'll compare the output. This is really interesting that they both say electric chartreuse or have mentioned chartreuse accents. So I'm noticing that the command here says it's going to go for a dark industrial cockpit aesthetic. Should be like activating a focus state, but it's interesting that they both chose chartreuse. I wonder what the commonality there is. Ooh, and kinetic energy. All right, I'm noticing an issue. It's trying to review the current design and iterate on it. So I'm actually going to interrupt that, and I'm going to make a subdirectory here to, I don't want to skew the results by having an existing design. So we're going to make a separate directory, and we're going to call it Claude front end. Okay, I'm going to go into that. I'm going to, I think I can just close that. I'm hoping that when I run Claude here, I can still get history to the command I gave it, and I can't. All right, so I'm going to jump back over to Gemini, copy my prompt again, put it in here, and I'm going to try and repeat roughly what I did earlier. Use the Anthropic Claude Code front-end design plugin to do the UI for this page. So we're going to run this again. Again, I didn't want the results being skewed by already having a front-end designed, and it was trying to tweak that. So we're going to run it on a fresh directory and see what we get. This is interesting. I noticed that this plugin is opening the browser to check the design. I don't know if that's part of the skill, but the original test didn't do that. this browser opened up the page, is taking a screenshot of it, and is then reviewing the screenshot. This is crazy. They both use the exact same font. So different colors, but same font. So I wonder if there's some overlap there in terms of having, like we're trying to get rid of AI slop, but if the front end plugins are all using the same alternative, then that just becomes the next AI slop. So, and keep in mind, I gave no design direction here. So this is something that if I wanted it to have a little bit more creativity, I could probably give it some more direction. I'm actually going to do another video coming up probably in the next week on using Google Stitch, which is an AI design generation software, which is really fun. And you can incorporate Google Stitch with Claude Code and have it go generate an AI generated full design. And again, we'll go over that, but that's going to be fun too. So stay tuned. Let's take a look at what we got. So let's see. This was what, oh my God, they're almost exactly the same. That's crazy. They both, does it say to use stop scrolling start in the prompt? No, that's crazy. So they both use exactly the same. These are almost exactly the same. That's crazy. All right, sorry, I'm really blown away by that. All right, so we're gonna scroll down. I like the blue, it's nice. I don't like that it tried to make a screenshot of the app. Again, I didn't tell it not to, but this is not what my app looks like, so this is presumptuous. Similar structure of the 3 steps. The fake social. They both chose $6 as their demo price. This is so funny because I didn't ask for any of that. They're so similar. Let me see if the 3 steps look the same. Lock and load, enter the zone, track and stack. Lockdown, deep work, accountability. Okay, so different text there. I like the track and stack. That's kind of neat. It's a nice way of putting it. $6, ready to lock in. They both say lock in a bunch. That's funny. $6. So yeah, they're almost exactly the same, honestly. Blue versus green. Really exact same font, exact same hero text. So that's interesting. I'm going to see if I can remove both of those plugins and run it without that. So bear with me for a few minutes. Luckily through editing, you won't have to watch any of that. But I'm going to see if I can get rid of both plugins and then test this again without. All right, I disabled the plugins. I notice I still have some design skills. Plugins are usually just package skills. So I'm going to just see if I can run the command again and tell it not to use any of the plugins. So we're going to run that and see what we get. We're going to make a directory. We're going to call it, go to base, Claude. We're going to jump over to Gemini, copy our prompt again. And I'm just going to specify in my prompt, don't use any skills, don't use any plugins. So hopefully that'll be sufficient. I can watch it and see what it does. When you build this page, don't use any available skills and don't use any available plugins. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to run it, and I'm going to watch the output here and just kind of follow what it's doing, and let's see what we get. So interesting observation right off the top is that that went about a minute faster than the other 2 tests. It says dark theme with purple accent. Yep, that sounds about right. So let's open it up and see what we got. Honestly, it's not bad. I mean, the AI definitely favors purple. I honestly really like purple. I think it looks really good, but it has become kind of standard. But we didn't get the purple to blue gradient, so that's nice. Yeah, and again, for some reason, AI sites always include this little blurb at the top. Stop scrolling, start locking in. I love that it keeps doing the exact same output. I think that's really funny. Here's the 3 ways. I mean, it's not much different. It's just a different font, honestly. So all in all, I mean, if I had to give some like closing thoughts here, your mileage may vary. I used 2 different design plugins, and then did one with no design plugins, and the results are all so similar. I mean, these are definitely more bold. So this one is the compound engineering plugin from Every. It's got a more unique font. It's very bold. It's got bright accent colors. You know, again, I like these like sort of subtle touches here like this where the font's sort of faded out. You know, it's interesting. It's a little bit more unique. And then you come over here. This was the Anthropic plugin. It's almost identical except for blue. And we scrolled through this a minute ago. It did try and recreate the app again. I gave that actually a minus for doing that. It went with icons here instead of like the faded numbers. Yeah, it's not great. It's fine. This feels imbalanced to me. Let me go back to this one and see if it had that same feel. Yeah, so it kind of feels imbalanced a little bit having these icons just to the left with a big empty spot. It's fine. These are almost, like I said, exactly the same. And then this was the one with no plugin at all. Dude, almost exactly the same. I do like that this at least has the icon at the top. For some reason, it's like this hierarchy flows better to me than having a longer line with a big empty space, having the empty space at the top. I don't know. I still think it feels a little bit disjointed, but overall, they're almost exactly the same. So I would say use the plugins as a starting point, but then on a per project basis, I would give them some level of like branding guidelines. So I actually have the Dope Mode app built, and it uses a style called neumorphic design. I did that using Google Stitch, and I think if I told this, hey, I want this to be a neumorphic design, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that differently. But this was meant to just be a baseline, and honestly, I think as a baseline, they're all pretty similar. So, like I said, your mileage may vary, but I think the more you put into this in terms of specificity, the more of a unique outcome you're going to have. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is a ton of fun for me. I love covering... Oh, that's funny. It went to green, but never went back to red. If you haven't watched that video, when Claude Code is done, the lights in my office flash green 2 times, but then they're supposed to go back to the original color. So apparently we didn't get that. But that's it for this one. I think the Google Stitch video is going to be the one that gets us some cool designs. It's kind of like that next level in terms of not just tweaking the prompt, but actually bringing in another app. So that'll be coming up soon. And as always, thanks.